Well, Deborah, that's right. It essentially unfolds from something the size of your smartphone into a fully functioning pistol in seconds. The creator said he wanted a better way to conceal. Experts here said they wouldn't touch it. In front of this ride now, it's called the Fireball, and there are investigators here keeping watch over it. But we're going to take you to live pictures of what's going on right now. Inspectors are back out along with OSP and Columbus Police.
Right there, that's where the shotgun pellets hit. They kind of went through my body, and they kind of painted over it.
Those were her babies too. She was that stone cold that she could fool everybody.
That's what I don't understand.
Do you think the federal government is doing enough right now, or do you want them to, are you doing what you're doing here to follow?
Right now, it doesn't appear as though the Congress is all that keen on doing much.
Why such a long investigation when there were 3 little witnesses?
Well, actually, at the time of his actual murder back in August, we were given very little information about the details surrounding the murder. Megan, I talked to a victim who said the selfies and pictures of her were never even shared. They were stolen. Now she's working to make sure victims have every tool to find and take their pictures down.
And Kelly, what's being done to stop this sort of thing from happening?
Adam, there is nothing to stop a straw buyer from lying on this federal form that's required to buy and own a gun. But we talked to a shop owner who goes above and beyond this piece of paper to make sure the person getting the background check for the gun is the actual person using it.
Law enforcement reeling over Saturday's shooting of 2 Westerville police officers and firearms groups. Reeling over how the shooter got the weapon.
Straw purchases in the industry is a huge problem, which gets very little attention, unfortunately, until a horrific crime like this.
Joe Eaton is with Buckeye Firearms Association. They advocate for Second Amendment rights, but admit even some legal gun purchases are flawed.
I don't think that his friend was an unknowing participant in this crime. It becomes a crime if you knowingly purchase a firearm for someone who can't possess it, and you're knowingly purchasing it for them to specifically get around the background checks.
It's very hard to determine without having a lengthy conversation of what this person is buying it for, or are they buying it legally.
That's why at the Miami Armory, owner David Becker takes the background check up a notch. This is the federal form gun buyers check off.
Asking, are you the actual buyer of the firearm that we're going to list on this form today? At that point, the answer should generally be yes.
If it's no, the purchase stops there. But Becker says a straw buyer,
ultimately, the consumer can choose to lie on that.
His employees are trained to ask other personal questions to feel out a buyer's intentions. But these are the only firewalls in place to keep guns out of illegal buyers' hands.
Just the whole totality of the situation is heartbreaking.
We also found out straw buying crimes aren't something that's tracked, so we can't tell you how many have happened locally or statewide. The Miami Armory owner said he only finds out when he's subpoenaed for this form because one's been used in a crime. Adam? To see him 1 year later, you'd never know Logan Cole survived a nightmare.
This is my English textbook. It's definitely the most hefty.
His senior year walking the same halls where he was shot 1 year ago.
I went into the bathroom to see how my hair looked, and that's when I saw Eli standing there with the shotgun, and he shot me in the chest and in the back, and then I fell to the ground. I have a good amount of practice kind of recounting the events.
It's been a year of highs and lows. Surviving the shooting, he's able to walk and talk, get back to school and soccer. He met the vice president. And despite his time in the hospital, he'll graduate on time. Out of all that, the high point.
Just the response of the community and how amazing everybody's been to my family, to me, to the school, and just how the kindness that's been shown toward us.
But 1 year later, it's still hard. Accused shooter Eli Cerna still awaiting trial.
Sometimes I kind of get angry over it, and I have to kind of give it back to God and forgive him again. But like one thing I've definitely learned is that forgiveness doesn't mean like you forget about something.
And then there's this, the bathroom where he was shot. Logan's been avoiding it.
When was the last time you were there?
A couple weeks out of the hospital.
1 year of building up bravery. Logan takes us back inside.
Right there, that's where the shotgun pellets hit. They kind of went through my body, and they kind of painted over it. Emotions don't work logically. I mean, I still get worried if something were to happen again. And even though I know it doesn't make much logical sense.
But if there's one thing he knows about the last year.
Definitely looking forward to moving forward, I'd say. And although I don't know, I definitely don't want to forget all of this that happened because it's part of my life.
Fox 45's Kelly May got an exclusive look inside and introduces us to one woman who wouldn't have survived if Care Flight hadn't been dispatched.
They say I swerved. They don't know if I swerved to miss something, and then I overcorrected.
ICS check.
I hit the concrete median, and then my car, I had a Tahoe. It flipped 6 or 7 times. I was partially ejected from my car. I was hanging upside down.
Megan Redmond had open fractures on her arms. Parts of her scalp were missing. 2 skull fractures, 4 broken vertebrae, a broken collarbone, and a traumatic brain injury.
How are you alive?
I know. It's a miracle that I'm alive. It was because of the quick thinking of Care Flight.
Just like for Megan's crash, the team inside this Dauphine helicopter is often a patient's best shot at survival. Last week, dispatched for a patient after a shooting in Greene County.
But when tones drop, it's go time.
Mandy Villa would know. She's a flight nurse.
Every bag in here, every flight nurse knows where everything is.
Doing procedures in this aircraft they might not do bedside. We got a rare chance to fly along inside. So Mandy could show us how patients like Megan are transported.
Paralleling I-75.
There's a pilot and 2 flight nurses in the back. They can carry 2 patients with the equipment and medication to do critical care in the air, moving at about 180 miles per hour. And in the dark, night vision goggles help them navigate a scene.
If the weather's bad, we have multiple ground units that can back up the helicopter.
Dr. Andrew Hawk is the Care Flight medical director.
Last year, 5,700 ground and air transports. So, as you know, this is unscheduled care. So some days aren't as busy, and then some days are very busy. So that's part of our job, is we have to be ready and we have to be able to provide high volume care to high volume people.
He oversees their fleet of 3 helicopters, covering a 150-mile radius from Urbana, Warren County, and here at Miami Valley Hospital.
Care Flight is thought of as the vehicles, but Care Flight is really the people.
CareCom, Care Flight 1 is 3 green for landing southbound.
So that's my favorite part of the job, is bringing that patient to the operating room. It's amazing. They see so much trauma, so many hard things.
Megan Redmond was intubated in flight and rushed to surgery. She spent a month in the hospital, another month in rehab. She lived to meet the crew that helped save her.
And hear their emotions that night too. That is what helps. It really truly helps. And they have such a thankless job sometimes, you know.
Not everyone who flies lives to do that.
Do you feel like things might have been different if you were not flown here?
I do. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be alive.
Adam, the administrators here supported the students' walkout today. They came out here to their flagpole to lay these flowers and stuffed animals and balloons. They told us this is not about the politics, it's about the victims' people.
At the Dayton Regional STEM School,
Aaron Fies,
it's not about the guns.
Chris Hickson,
The names of the Parkland, Florida shooting victims.
Luke Hoyer,
That's why they're doing this.
Jamie Guttenberg,
Hundreds of students in solidarity showing support walk out of their school at noon
Martin Duque,
because victims in Parkland couldn't.
Scott Beagle.
And the fact that we're doing it for the victims, not as a political statement, this is really, really deep for us.
It's just very devastating that some people don't understand that what happened affects us as well. It's a nationwide effect. Peter Wong.
Administrators knew about the walkout ahead of time.
Elena Petty,
and worked with class and lunch schedules to help the student body make their message heard.
They made it really clear that they wanted to do it just solely in support of these students and to let them know that students in Ohio really cared about them and were worried about what was happening to them too.
Have a moment of silence for the 17 lives that were lost last week.
A quick but powerful 17 minutes outside.
Meadow, Pollock,
For the 17 Florida victims.
Helena Ramsey.
This picture is about empowering youth to go forwards and do the right thing.
We're going to push to have our school talk about it more and have like people to talk to if students do feel unsafe at school.
School administrators said they've been having small group talks with students since the Parkland shooting about what will help them feel safer inside this building, as well as looking at some physical changes inside. No one today facing any disciplinary action for their walkout.